about another and very interesting secret society, namely the Skull and Bones, because this is a secret society not of elderly men that have reached the 33rd or the 38th degree of Freemasonry, but these are young kids in the 21-year-old or third year of college that are initiated in that society. Have you heard of any homosexual overtones?
Oh yes, the initiation ceremony of Skull and Bones, which finally began to leak out after many years of total secrecy. The fact is that the initiate into Skull and Bones, first of all, he has to strip off all his clothing, then he has to lie down in a coffin, and there he recites every sexual experience that he has had throughout his entire life, whether with male or female or what they did. And so this is in the presence of his brothers, you see, the fraternity brothers. So in other words, he is totally confessing all of his sexual activity of his life to that time, and they are now in possession of this knowledge so that they have not merely a weapon of blackmail, but a weapon of control, because whenever he sees one of his fraternity brothers around the campus, he knows that that brother knows all of his innermost secrets of his life. And in other words, you place yourself totally in their hands. And the Skull and Bones, of course, was set up by the Russell Trust in 1858 as a branch of the German Illuminati. And apparently this is also an Illuminati technique, probably developed by the Jesuits, to force the initiate to place his personal history and all of his secrets in the hands of his fellow members. And then after this recitation of his personal secrets, he then stands up and is supposedly born again as a new person under the guise of the Illuminati Skull and Bones. And the members of this fraternity, by the way, there are other fraternities on Yale University, but it was generally known by the students there that Skull and Bones was the peak. In fact, a Yale student told me one day, he said, it was known on the campus that if you were tapped for bones, you were set for life. You would never have to worry about career or fortune because you would be taken care of. And only 15 seniors each year are tapped, you see.
Yeah.
And they are from the most elite families, the Harrimans, the Rockefellers, and the Bushes. His family was an employee of the Harriman interests, and so that's how Bush was chosen.
Families that have been for many generations into Satanism and black magic and secret societies.
Yeah.
Also, there is a funny fact that when you are induced into the Skull and Bones, you basically lie naked in a coffin.
Yes.
Not only that you recite your past sexual exploits, but you lie naked in a coffin with a red ribbon tied around your lightning rod.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I heard that they do something like a rush where everybody is naked and they kind of jump over and fall over and then pile upon this new inductee. And what goes on in the middle of this frenzied rush, I cannot say, but it looks like kind of a preparation for future sodomic experiences. Plus another funny initiation rite that they have, you have to go and dig up a grave of a famous person and steal his skull. That's how the skull of Geronimo was stolen by one of the famous boners and brought to their shrine, which is a whole building in the middle of Yale University campus. The skull of another famous several Mexican revolutionary leaders were dug up and so on, which is like a gory story from a horror movie. I mean, digging up a grave and taking out grisly bones in order to be initiated in a satanic society. If I use the language, the nomenclature of the communist totalitarian governments, basically, this is like a satanic Komsomol society, a youth satanic league, basically a preparation society, preparatory society, so that these members would rise much higher into the highest echelons of Freemasonry and the Illuminati. After that,
I think it's important right there to make the point that the skull and bones was a Freemasonic emblem. It is a Freemasonic emblem. It was always on the graves in Europe of high degree Freemasons. On their graves would be the skull and crossbones. They kept even the pirates of the Caribbean, even the pirates would run the Jolly Roger, the black flag with the skull and bones.
Not only Freemasonic emblem, but I was reading a book on black magic, and there was a photograph of a table set for satanic rituals, the daggers to kill the victim, and there was a skull and two femur bones in the very same exact geometrical position and shape as the emblems of the skull and bones.
Right.
And you know that in the language of symbology there is basically nothing coincidental, and that for me was a very strong indication that there may be some satanic overtones into that campus fraternity society. On top of that, all these strange voices that were coming through the locked doors of this temple, until somebody broke in the 70s, and in one of the rooms they discovered full regalia of Nazi flags, uniforms, swastikas, posters. Basically, it's obvious that on top of being with strong homosexual overtones and preparatory for satanic practices, it also practices Nazi elitist philosophy of the white elite.
Now, this particular area I'm not that familiar with, but I know that the introduction of perverted sex opens up it lowers one's inhibitions to start with, and then opens one up to further corruption. As we said before, that then one is not averse to maybe monetary corruption, and from there to lying to political corruption. And once you're into that lifestyle,
it's a short road.
Yeah, it's a very short road, and you know there's no coming back, because as Eustace brought out, all of your cohorts with you know what you have done, and that's the way that they can keep control over you.